The door you are about to open looks like heaven, but it is a gateway to the adversary's abyss. Do not be alarmed. You did not hear these words by accident. This is a divinely appointed rescue, for I have foreseen a sophisticated trap being laid to destroy your destiny. An opportunity that seems too perfect, an offer that sounds too good to be true, a path paved with roses that hide the sharpest thorns. In the next few minutes, I will not only expose the true nature of the glamorous opportunity before you, but I will also show you the jealousy that fuels your enemy. You will understand my unchanging law of justice, that the very pit they dig will become their own grave. I will teach you about the greatest power, which comes from you doing nothing at all. And most importantly, if you stay until the end, I promise to give you the key to turn the very place of your humiliation into the stage for your greatest vindication. This is not a philosophical video. This is a divine strategy, tailor-made for you. If your spirit tells you that this message is for you, have the courage to hit the like button and leave an amen below. It's more than just a click. It is your declaration of faith, your decision to stand with me in this battle. Your action will also help the algorithm of love carry this message to others who need it. Now take a deep breath. Your rescue begins now. Stop at the threshold of the trap. The perfection the enemy displays is merely a mask for the deadly decay within. I know you are standing before a golden opportunity. A business partner appears as if by magic, bringing the capital you need, the connections you lack, and speaking all the affirming words you've longed to hear. Every piece seems to fit together so perfectly that you believe this is the answer to your prayers. You're ready to sign the contract, ready to shake hands on a new beginning, a future you've always dreamed of. The feeling of being seen, trusted, and uplifted is intoxicating. But in that moment of decision, a vague sense of unease rises within you. You quickly dismiss it, telling yourself it's just unnecessary fear. You convince yourself that you cannot miss this once-in-a-lifetime chance. You almost ignore the faint warning voice from the depths of your soul to chase what your eyes see and your ears hear. Here is the lesson. When things seem too perfect, the unrest you feel is not the fear of failure. It is the wisdom I placed in your soul as a sacred break. It is the gift of discernment, the first warning to protect you from a meticulously planned collapse. So when your eyes are blinded by promises and your reason is tempted by beautiful numbers, how can you see through the glittering facade to recognize the truth? May you have the courage to pause, if only for a moment, at the threshold of great decisions. Trust my voice over your sight. Your senses are a tool, but they are also the most easily manipulated door. Let's go back to that room where the contract waits. The other person speaks so persuasively, their smile is so warm, and the numbers they present on paper are undeniable. Your eyes see success, your ears hear promises, your mind analyzes and concludes that this is a wise decision. All your senses shout, yes. But I ask you, deep in your spirit, what do you feel? Is it a complete peace, or is it a rushed urgency, an unnameable anxiety churning like a hidden undercurrent? You chose to believe what you saw. You signed the paper. You smiled and shook hands. You walked out of the meeting, but instead of the joy of someone who has just seized their destiny, you carried the invisible weight of someone who has just sold their peace. You tried to celebrate, but the joy felt hollow. That night, you tossed and turned, not from excitement, but from a chaos eating you from the inside. Here is the lesson. My truth never shouts, it whispers. It isn't found in glamorous numbers or winged promises. It is found in the profound peace that logic cannot explain, and in the persistent unrest that no excuse can soothe. The enemy can counterfeit everything, but they can never counterfeit my peace. But why did this trap exist in the first place? What is it about you, about the destiny I have prepared for you, that provokes such jealousy and scheming from the adversary? May your spiritual ears be opened, so you may hear my voice more clearly than all the noise of this world. I have seen the jealousy in the shadows. The plot against you was not born from strength, but from the weakness of jealousy as they saw the light I placed within you. Let me show you a scene your physical eyes can never see. While you were working diligently, sowing in tears and persevering in silence, others were watching from a distance. They didn't see your sleepless nights, your lonely prayers, or the sacrifices no one acknowledged. They saw only one thing: the soil of your soul, though it had endured so much rock and hardship, was beginning to sprout the flowers of blessing. They saw the glow of divine favor beginning to form over your life. They covet that harvest. They desire the crown I have prepared for you. But they are unwilling to carry the cross of perseverance and integrity that you have borne. So instead of cultivating their own barren land, they chose a shortcut to sabotage your harvest and steal what is yours. The perfect trap they set is their desperate attempt to steal a blessing they never earned. Here is the lesson. The attack you face is not a sign of your weakness, but proof of the crown I have set for you. The enemy only attacks where there is treasure. Their jealousy is an unwitting prophecy confirming the greatness I am building in you. So, when the enemy has sown the wind of jealousy and dug a pit of deceit, do you think they can escape the hurricane of my justice? May you see your own value through the eyes of your envious enemy and know that you carry a destiny worth fighting for. The pit they dug will be their own grave. The enemy thought they were digging a pit for you, not realizing the ground beneath their own feet was already sinking. You watched it happen. After you signed the agreement, the mask of kindness began to fall. The capital they promised was constantly delayed for absurd reasons. Your passionate ideas were stolen and presented as their own. You were slowly pushed out of the very project you poured your blood, sweat, and tears into. You felt trapped, betrayed, and stuck in a nightmare you once thought was a dream. You lost not only money, but also your trust. But while you were in the depths of your pain, look at what I was doing behind the scenes. The very pit they dug for you with lies became the grave for their own careers. Their compounding lies began to contradict each other, causing them to expose themselves before others. The ill-gotten money they took from you, they invested in even more deceitful ventures and lost everything. The alliance they built on betrayal began to fracture as the co-conspirators turned on each other. They collapsed completely, not by any external hand, but by the sheer weight of the wickedness they created. Here is the lesson. My law of sowing and reaping is absolute and never fails. He who sows betrayal will reap isolation. He who sows greed will reap emptiness. Their collapse is not my act of revenge. It is the inevitable consequence, the natural echo of the wicked seeds they themselves have sown. So as you stand there, watching the enemy fall into the pit they dug, what is your role? Should you gloat? Or is there a higher, more powerful response I have designed for you? May your heart be unburdened by vengeance, so that your hands may be free to receive the restoration I am about to bring. Your silence is the loudest prayer. When the world screams for you to fight, I invite you into the powerful silence of faith. I see you, your heart shattered and scarred by betrayal. You want to scream the truth for the whole world to hear. You want to expose their deceitful facade. You want to demand justice with your own strength. Everyone around you urges you on. Sue them, fight back. Don't let them get away with it. And you stood at a crossroads. Follow the world's path of revenge, or walk my path of trust. In your pain, you chose the latter. Instead of posting accusations, you knelt in prayer. Instead of cursing your enemies, you chose to forgive, even when your emotions were still raw. You chose silence, not the silence of a passive victim, but the silence of a child who trusts their Almighty Father completely. You handed the sword of vengeance back to me and focused only on healing your own heart. Your silence was not an empty space. It was a sacred space where I could begin to work, unhindered by your bitterness. Here is the lesson. Vengeance is mine, not because I want to rob you of your rights, but because only I can execute perfect justice without poisoning your soul. When you try to avenge yourself, you become infected by the very weapon you wield. But when you surrender that burden to me in silence and trust, you empower me to turn the greatest injustice against you into your most public and glorious vindication. And now that you have learned to keep your heart pure even in the furnace of betrayal, what happens next? Do you think I would let your silent sacrifice be forgotten? May your silence become a symphony of faith, its music reaching my very throne. The place of your humiliation will be your stage for vindication. The enemy thought they had brought you down, never knowing they were unintentionally building the launch pad for your glory. We have walked a long journey together. I have shown you how to recognize a trap hidden in plain sight. You have learned to listen to my whisper instead of trusting your eyes and ears. You have understood that the enemy's jealousy is a confirmation of your destiny, and that the law of sowing and reaping would surely find them. Most importantly, you learned the power of silence and trust, entrusting vengeance to me. And now, it is time for you to receive the reward for that faith. Look, in the very place where you lost everything, where your honor was trampled and your name was smeared, right there, I will prepare a feast for you. I will not restore you quietly. I will do it publicly in the presence of the very ones who tried to bring you down. The opportunity you lost will be replaced by another, 100 times greater, from a source that is pure and unshakable. The doors they closed in your face, I will replace with gates that no one can shut. The reputation they tried to destroy, I will rebuild more brilliantly than before. Here is the greatest message. My vindication is not just about getting back what you lost. It is an upgrade. I am not just putting you back where you were. I am promoting you to a higher place, where the arrows of the enemy can no longer reach you. Your past humiliation is not a scar to be hidden, but a medal of honor that proves my restorative power in your life. But the story is not over. This honor is not the final destination. It is the beginning of a new chapter, a greater mission I have prepared for you. And to step into that new chapter, there is one last thing you must do, an act that will fully unlock my power in your financial and spiritual life. Are you ready to discover this final, most crucial step in the next part of our journey?